Hello one all, it's my view of My Hero Academia, chapter 336, Villain. And I've got to say, my last video has aged rather poorly, given that it was, about a 20-minute rant about all the reasons why Invisible Girl was the most obvious traitor, but she was clearly a spy working for All For One, only for this chapter to reveal the real traitor is actually Ayama. So, yeah, my bad. Invisible Girl, I owe you a huge apology. And quite frankly, I am impressed. I am seriously impressed. I mean, you found a spy. You found someone spying. You found someone being a traitor. You went to go report them, and you did. You did it successfully without being captured or killed. Do you have any idea how rare that is in anime? I mean, I saw that and my first thought was, oh, she gonna die. Alma's gonna stab her in the back. He's gonna kill her. It's gonna be something like that. But no, she actually managed to find Deku. I mean, he was kind of, walking in the woods fairly close to her, so it wasn't much of a search. And, he's not really a professor, he's not really a teacher, so he doesn't have all that much authority. But I mean, Deku was way stronger than all the teachers. And, they are kind of on a teacher shortage right now, given a lot of them are injured or dead. So, yeah, Deku was the absolute best person to find. And you found him! Yay! Good for you, Invisible Girl. Good for you. And it is definitely funny. Last video I said, oh, it's obviously Invisible Girl. She's obviously a traitor. I mean, Anime 101, the most inconspicuous and most unnoticeable person in the entire, cast, is secretly super powerful and super evil. So therefore it's Invisible Girl. But no, it was Ayama, the guy who was so overwhelmingly, flashy and sparkly that you couldn't help but notice him. I mean, you almost were forced to ignore him just because, just Ayama being Ayama. And there were so many clues. Oh my god, above, there were so many clues. I mean, let's go all the way back to, the attack on the USJ, the first, big villain attack. I said in the last video, oh, Invisible Girl, no one actually saw her during the attack. I mean, she said she was with Shoto, but Shoto didn't see her, so where was she really? Ayama, when they asked Ayama where he was during the attack, he said, oh, that's a secret. He was practically bragging. He was practically saying, hey, look at me. I'm the traitor. I'm the villain. I'm the one who told them where the class would be today. Clearly, I am evil. Somebody please notice and put me out of my freaking misery. Oh, I love it. And then later on at the hero license exam, we got that scene where it was a flashback and said, oh, Papa, Mama, why am I so different from all the other children? And we assumed, oh, it's Ayama being Ayama, complaining about how sparkly he is, or complaining about how he's just, such a weirdo. No, it was him complaining that he was born without a quirk, unlike all the rest of his classmates. Oh my god. Oh my freaking god above. Ayama is Villain Deku. Ayama's backstory is the Villain Deku storyline we've all been wanting for so long, and that's inspired so many fan fictions. A boy born without a quirk, a boy who wants it so desperately that he shakes hands, he makes a deal with the freaking devil, and gets way, way more than he bargained for. Oh my god, Ayama is Villain Deku, and I freaking love it. But then even after that, we had, the point that really, really convinced a lot of people that Ayama was a spy when he said to Deku, or when he wrote out in Cheese, I know, telling Deku that, he knew the truth about him. And back then, we all assumed it was just Ayama being Ayama saying, oh, Deku, you're like me, our quirks hurt us because that's just, how nature is. And like, all right, let's move on. Like, that was such a weird scene. It made no sense, but it makes so much sense now that we realize what Ayama was really saying is, Deku, you're like me. We were both born without quirks and then given quirks that just do not fit our bodies at all, and that's why they cause so much pain to us. That's what my quirk, makes me basically poop myself or vomit, and your quirk, keeps breaking your bones. Though I know this isn't a, funny topic, but, Ayama's quirk, the naval laser, All For One had to have that at some point in the series, at some point in his history. He had naval laser, a quirk that, might have caused him to soil himself if he overused it. I have so many questions about that. I mean, is just that Ayama isn't compatible with the quirk and that's why it's causing damage to him? Or would that do it to anyone? I mean, did, All For One take the quirk from the original user because that guy didn't want anymore? Because, it was basically making him poop himself over and over again? I could see that. I could certainly see that being the case. But yeah, so clearly Ayama was a traitor all along, and it's been, well foreshadowed up to this point. I mean, I saw some online saying, oh, it was, just scarcely foreshadowed. No, there was a lot of evidence leading up to this point, but Ayama was just so flashy, so sparkly, so over the top that no one really even noticed. It was just, oh, Ayama being Ayama. It's like Mineta, we ignore him at this point because, oh, Mineta's just, a hopeless pervert. We would never stop and think, hey, I wonder why Mineta's doing that, because the answer is probably because he's a freaking pervert. Obviously. In the same way, because Ayama is just, so over the top, we never really took his actions all that seriously, and that made him the perfect spy. It made him completely and utterly invisible, and I freaking love it. One other thing I also mentioned, when All For One was first captured, we got this one panel of Ayama and I assume it was his sister, I guess it's his mother, and, their expressions were definitely weird. Even when I went back and read the chapter recently, I'm like, he's looking kind of funny right there. What's up with that? And it turns out, because in the moment he was hoping, this is it. All For One's done. All For One's been captured. This is it. I'm done. I'm no longer a spy. I'm no longer working for a League of Villains, but it was not to be the case. I'm guessing out of the message after that, he's, continuing to be a spy, even up to this point. I'm actually kind of wondering, I mean, he was given fresh orders this chapter. What exactly did All For One want him to do? What exactly was All For One hoping to get out of him? I'm not sure about that. Strange. Very, very strange. I mean, does he want information about what Deku's up to, what their current numbers are, what their plan is moving forward? Maybe he's planning on, bouncing, jumping the pro heroes as they go through their inspections of the city. Oh, that'd be dark. That'd be dark. But also a good chance for, the pro heroes to turn the table on them. Now that they have a spy reporting directly to All For One, maybe the spy can work for them. Maybe the spy can tell them where All For One is, or lure All For One or his people into a trap. I mean, his parents are, really desperately afraid of being murdered here, and for good reason. All For One is, basically a freaking god at this point. I've said that many, many times, and even with all the pro heroes working together, it might not actually be enough to stop him. So their options are basically to work for All For One, or die. Or I guess go to prison for the rest of their lives, because they have all broken so very, very many laws by this point. I mean, seriously, just a whole bunch of laws. I mean, from the very beginning, as soon as he made the deal, as soon as he gave All For One the information about the USJ attack, that was it. I mean, he would go to prison for basically the rest of his life. He would be labeled a villain, kicked out of school. They would lose their big fancy house and all that. So, yeah, they were in All For One's pocket, and there was absolutely nothing they could do to go against him. Oh, also, one thing I want to mention, I definitely thought it was strange when, they were trying to bring Deku back, and Ayama said nothing. Ayama wasn't involved in the plot at all. That was so weird, because, he had that big moment with Deku, the moment where he said, I'm just like you. Oh god, that was so obvious they was a spy at that point. But anyway, I always thought it was so strange. Turns out that's because they were, he couldn't say anything because they'd be going against All For One's plan. All For One wanted Deku alone, isolated by himself, so it'd be easier to capture him, to steal the quirk from him, to do the big final battle against him when he was alone. But yeah, that didn't go according to plan. And as a result, All For One has new orders for him. And yeah, I'm not exactly sure what he's going to do with those orders. I mean, he clearly can't follow them. So is he going to lure All For One to a trap, or does he have something else planned? I mean, he looks broken. He just looks so utterly broken this chapter. I mean, seriously, he's been putting on a brave face for a very, very long time. But now, now he's actually confronted by Deku, someone he really does seem to care about. He can't do it. He can't do it anymore. And all he has to say is, each time I led them to us, do you hear me, Midoriya? I am a despicable villain. Oh, I love it. I love it. I really do hope that in the epilogue of the series, Deku visits Ayama in Tartarus, or the new villain jail, whatever it might be. But anyway, rest of the chapter, we have Bakugo going up against Deku, showing off his cluster bomb technique, which is very, very powerful, but also requires a whole bunch of sweat, which is the reason why he's wearing his winter outfit, because he's trying to sweat more, but this apparently drains him faster. I wonder if this is actually draining him of, his bodily fluids, if he's running out of, he's basically becoming dehydrated, if he uses the attack too many times, which would be interesting. We don't really think that's a weakness we've ever seen Bakugo talk about before, but yeah, that definitely seems like, something he should be worried about, running out of, literal sweat. Once he stops sweating, once he becomes so dehydrated that he can't, stand up anymore, he won't be able to make any more explosions, and that's basically it for him. Will his next hero upgrade outfit involve like a water pack on his back so he can, take sips while he's fighting? Punch, explosion, drink, explosion. Maybe, I could see that. I could definitely see that. Meanwhile, we also have Shoto trying to practice, using fire and ice at the same time, looking very spiritual here. Seriously, looks like he's trying to go Super Saiyan. I freaking love that. And then we have Bakugo once again showing off that he is a freaking genius. Seriously, when the series first started, I assumed Bakugo was a hot-headed, muscle punk, whatever, and that Deku would win him every time, and that Deku would beat him every time because Deku was smarter than him. Deku would be able to outthink him, out-strategize him, but that has not proven the case at all. I mean, ever. Bakugo has learned, adapted so very many times. I mean, yes, he's a hothead, doesn't always think things through, but when he does, he's a freaking genius. I mean, we saw that so many times in the last My Hero Academia movie. Like 3 separate times, Bakugo saved the day just by outmaking everyone else in the room, being the smartest person, saying, why don't we just do X? X is the obvious right choice. Everyone's like, yeah, you're right, Bakugo, let's do X. I mean, seriously, Momo is a bona fide genius. That's been made clear abundantly. And she and Bakugo are basically taking turns explaining things to the rest of the class this chapter. Oh, that is a combo I never thought I'd see, and I freaking love it. Anyways, they explain the big issues are the fact that All For One is in hiding somewhere in the world, and they need to actually track him down. Secondly is the issue that, the last time that they fought Shigaraki, he kicked their butts, and that was in his incomplete state. Once he's, fully evolved, fully taken his butterfly form, yeah, he's going to be more powerful. He's going to be way, way more powerful. And they're going to have a lot less manpower to deal with him because, they've lost so very, very many heroes. And meanwhile, Shigaraki, All For One, have managed to recruit a whole bunch of people. I mean, they show the prison where, Gigantomachia is being contained. Yeah, he's not going to be detained for long. He's not going to be detained for long. Obviously, he's going to break free at some point and going to be involved in the big final battle. I think it says last chapter, but I really do think that he's actually Crimson Riot, the hero that Hiroshima admired and loved so much, and that, when he finds out that's going to be this big final battle in the series, I would so love to see that. But anyway, though, third big issue is the fact that All For One's going to be the one that pulls the trigger. All For One's going to be the one that decides exactly when the attack happens, meaning he can attack when they're at their absolute weakest, when they're least prepared for it, and that would go very, very badly for him. Though we do get a very interesting bit of trivia here. Apparently, All For One lost the search quirk. I mean, he says even if he might have lost that search quirk, which is interesting, a very weird way to put it. I'm guessing he has lost, that's why they're saying it, maybe they don't know quite yet, but anyway, if he has in fact lost the search quirk, then he can't exactly figure out where Deku is in the world, and that is a huge, huge plus for them. It basically makes it a lot easier for them to hide Deku, and All For One needs to spread his forces more broadly instead of just focusing entirely on Deku, on finding out exactly where he's located. That'd be a huge win, I would so love to see that. Though again, that would kind of mean the search quirk was basically created, used one single time, and then made utterly and completely useless. So yeah, that'd be a bit disappointing. But either way, it'd be a whole lot better for them if the search quirk was in fact destroyed. Anyway, though, Deku decides to go on a walk, check on Ayama, because wondering, hey, I haven't really talked to Ayama since I got back, and he's been kind of weird. Wonder what's up with him. Oh, turns out he's a spy, and he made a basic deal with a freaking devil. Oh, okay, I was not expecting that. I thought maybe he was having a bad hair day or something. Oh, wow, I said this before, but Ayama is just so utterly, utterly broken this chapter, and I cannot freaking wait. I cannot freaking wait for next week to see him, talk more about his past, see him talk more. I mean, I would love just the entire chapter next week was him talking Deku, him talking about his experience, a flashback to him in kindergarten, going through life without a quirk. Oh my god. Basically just paralleling the similarities between him and Deku, and, maybe even Deku wondering himself, if All For One offered me a quirk back then, would I have taken his hand? Would I have accepted it? Because Ayama didn't actually know who he was, making a deal with. He didn't know how truly evil All For One really was. And, I mean, Deku might have made the same choice and realized far too late how, badly, badly he had messed up. Also, just something that's coming to me right now, Ayama's parents are clearly really, really rich. I mean, their house has fine art and vases and all that. I wonder if they arranged another deal with All For One besides, him just being a spy. I wonder if, they provided some sort of financial compensation to him or gave him access to their company, whatever it might be, and that's, part of the reason why he chose them, why he chose their son to give a quirk to. I'm not sure about that. I mean, really, how rare is quirklessness at this point in the series? I mean, I think Deku said in the very first chapter that 80% of the world had quirks, but let's not forget, with each generation, it's more and more likely for the children to have quirks and have more powerful quirks. So by the time, Deku and Ayama were kids, it was really rare for, Deku to class 20 people, and he was the only one in it without a quirk. Same with Ayama. His class was like 20 people, give or take, and he was the only one without a quirk. So for their generation, it's probably more like 5% or less are born without quirks. I'm not sure about that, but please leave comments down below. What do you think of the reveal that Ayama's a spy? Do you like it better than Invisible Girl being the spy? I mean, I do think this is better, just oh god, the pain in his face is so amazing this chapter. But I was kind of hoping for Invisible Girl revealing her true face, showing that she could actually make herself visible this whole time, being some sort of horrible Cthulhu-esque monster. Oh well, maybe someday, maybe someday. And just what do you think's gonna happen next? What exactly did All for One want Ayama to do for him? What exactly was the order he gave to him? And how is he gonna turn it against him now? I mean, his parents were really, really scared here, like utterly, utterly terrified. So does All for One have some sort of means of killing them remotely, like he did with Lena Gaunt, basically like a bomb inside them that he can activate whenever he finds out they betrayed him? I'm hoping not, because that would be, very, very dark. I'd much rather be the case where Alma can, give them information on All for One and essentially lead them to him or lead them to, one of his agents they can take down. They continue moving forward. I mean, I'm not exactly really sure what happened to Alma after that. I mean, I still feel like he'd have to go to villain jail after all this because he's broken so very, very many laws and has basically, helped the world's largest mass murderer continue his mass murdering spree. So, yeah, the government's probably going to have some issues with that. If there's even... Is the Japanese government even running at this point? Because I don't actually think they are. But anyway, please leave a like down below. Please be sure to like and subscribe. See you in the next video. And until then, peace!